Alrighty, yeah, so welcome everybody. Oops. So this is my version of light versus dark class, focusing on how lighting reacts to objects, therefore creating a shadow. Yeah, thank you. Just thought I'd add a little humor to it to start off with, just get everybody into it so it's not so boring. And break the ice. Hey, welcome robot Tanya, Susan. Alright guys, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Yeah, thank you. Okay. So, yeah, that's just the title. Alright. So I'm going to break this down for you as simple as possible. What we have here, let's see. Okay, for one thing, I notice a lot of artists, amateur and professionals alike, struggle with light. I'm definitely one of them. Light is not an easy thing to accomplish. There's so many different sources. There's so many different ways that light reacts to different objects. You have metallic objects, wooden objects, cloth, just all kinds of different material sources that light plays a different role with, and therefore with its shadows. So right now I'm just gonna show you a little diagram and just kind of lay it out as simple and basic as possible. So we have your basic sphere right here. Let me see here. Okay, so we have your basic sphere. Okay. All right. And what I want to show you is the light source, your main light source, your pin light. It's going to be coming from a certain direction. If it's a sunlight, it's going to be typically aiming at a 95 degree angle. So, and basically an object is just an obstruction of where the light is heading to. Yeah, what's your question? Yeah, what's your question, robot? Okay, just ask, and I'll try to answer the best I can. By the way, I'm no expert on this. There are many sources out there that you can gather. Just go to Google. I went through and looked at a bunch of reference before I actually started this class, just to make sure that I'm not confusing anybody, and make sure I'm pretty accurate with what I'm teaching. So I'm just basically running down the basics for you. That's all I'm doing, and trying to make it as enjoyable and exciting as possible. Plus, I want to show you different ways that I work with my art to achieve lighting with different brush strokes and textures and stuff like that. I always had trouble with shadows. How do you make them look real? Well, I'm fixing to go over that. Well, you have your main source of lighting, which is the sun or the moon. So you have the sun and you have the moon. All right. Of course, the moon gives off lighting at night. The sun gives off lighting during the day. The sun can give off different variations of lighting depending on what time of day it is. So therefore, it's going to react, to your objects differently. Okay. So back to what I was saying. So you have your light from the sun hitting your object, and basically the object is just an obstruction. It stands in the pathway of where the light is aiming towards, being in the way of where the light is going. The object. So just think of one, and when the light hits the object, it's gonna the object is gonna react to where the lighting is hidden. So the main part, your strongest light source, will be right here in this area, wherever it sticks out the most. And everything else is going to flow back. Okay? So everything else is going to flow back like that. That will be creating your core shadow on the object. Thank you so much by the way. I really appreciate this. Sorry guys, I'm a little choked up. So then you have your Terminator's shadow, which basically it's basically just a line drawn to where the darkness hits, and then from there it just fades back a little bit as it goes further. So you have your Terminator shadow right here, and then as it fades back, it's going to cast a deeper shadow, which will be your cast shadow. As your cast shadow goes back, it's gonna fade. It's gonna kind of blur out. Well, depending on the light source. If the light is further away, it's not going to be as dark. If the light source is closer up, then it will be a little bit thicker. But the shadow's gonna blur out a bit as it fades back. All right. So then your object's always gonna, basically what's gonna happen is there's gonna be just think of like a line going back. So like the highest part, hold on a second. So the highest part of your object right here, right, is basically just gonna think of it as I guess geometry. Your line goes down right here. Wherever the line hits on the surface is where your shadow is gonna stop. Okay. I guess that's the best way to explain that. Just think of wherever the top of your object is, as the angle goes down, your line's gonna, it's gonna hit, at the bottom. All right. So anyway, there's that. You guys have any questions? Anybody? Alrighty. Thank you. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the next example. Alright, here we have just different pieces of reference that I gathered off of Google. Yes. I'm sorry, Fleur. I know I tend to go a little bit fast. I'm sorry. Yeah, I can post a reference for you. I have trouble checking out the chat while I'm explaining something. Sorry. I'll help you guys out here however I can. Yeah. Okay. So we have reference here. Just different pieces of reference. We got different objects up here. A spear, a cylinder, a square, or a box, and it's just showing different ways of like how the light is hitting against the object. It's got different points, flowing back, just at different sections of the object. Over here, we have a subject. You know, the light is coming from this direction and hitting against the subject in different areas. So basically, you just focus on where the light is going to hit the most, and then whatever else just flows back, and creates a shadow. And that's a great example right there, by the way. Here we have two astronauts, just showing an example where the light, what I was talking about as far as like the angle, the line of sight or whatever. Wherever the line hits off of the top of that object is where the shadow is going to hit on the ground, as you can see right here and right here. All right. Hey, what's up, Tino? Thanks for coming, man. All right. So we have another area right here. Just another example. See the tree, the top of the tree. Its shadow is hidden down here. All right. I guess you can think of it as like the cast shadow. You can think of it as like cardboard, like a cardboard piece coming off of the main object, and it's just laying flat. And however long that light stretches out, that cardboard object is just going to be stretched out with the light. So you can think of it like that. Same thing right here. And right here. So wait for Fleur to catch up. She's doing an awesome job, by the way. Thank you, Fleur. I know I'm probably hard to keep up with because my mind's just racing with thoughts, but it's hard for me to transfer it, I guess. You guys can't see anything? Can you see it? Okay. I don't know, Tino. It's up there, man. I don't know why you can't see it, bro. Yeah, squirrel. I guess I'm better at showing than explaining. Yeah, I'm definitely better at showing than explaining. That's for sure. Right here you have another group of objects. These objects are actually showing where the light's coming from. And all objects are also casting shadows on. So if you notice the other objects, So, say like this one, for example, the cylinder is casting a light, or I mean, not a light, a shadow on this object right here. So that's another thing too, is whenever an object casts a shadow, if there's something that's standing in the way of that shadow, no matter what it is, it's going to cast a shadow up on that object as well. So the shadow just doesn't, it's not like a ghost. It doesn't just go through. Just think of it as another solid object being bounced down or falling over or whatever. Hope that makes sense. And whatever's in that way, whatever's in the way of that shadow, of course, it's gonna affect that object too. Okay. All right, and then here's another one, just another example. It's a more complex example of a shadow, but as you can see, it's basically like a cutout silhouette of that object. Yes. Yes, that is right. No, I didn't draw all these. These are just reference material that I pulled up. I tried to find like the best examples. Okay, so you guys understand that pretty much. Does it make sense? Do you have any questions? I'll give Fleur a break here for a second. No, don't feature them. Don't feature them, please. They're not mine. I don't own the property to any of these. So it'd be pretty cool if I did, but you know, I appreciate it. So you guys have any questions? If not, I'll go ahead and move on. The shadow should be as big as where the light is going to hit. So see, like right up here, it's not going to, a lot of times it's not going to be as big as the subject. It's just going to fall, all right. It's just going to follow through where the light hits. There could be a shadow compo. That would be interesting. Black Pond's the man. Yes, thank you, Fleur. Alright, guys, I'm going to go ahead and move on. I don't want to hold y'all up. Yeah, you're welcome. Alright. Okay, so here's some examples of my own stuff. So these are ones that I did do. And it's just different things that I drew, different materials. Excuse me, I'm really sorry. My throat's all choked up. So here we have an example up here. Some shiny metal of how the light reacts to metal. What you want to keep in mind is with metal, the more dense a material. I mean, this is how I keep it in mind and remember. The more dense a material, like metal or water or anything like that, it's gonna capture the light a lot more than cloth or anything dull or soft. It's gonna have more, diffusion. There you go. yeah, I don't know all the proper terms, but if you get the idea. And then here's like a droplet of water or oil or whatever. It's liquid. And you got your pinpoint right there. Right here you got your pinpoint. So it's always going to be a direct source of light in any situation, pretty much. Right here. Over here, like a rock or an egg or something. I don't know what it is. But right there. Then you also have your backlight that's hitting around the object. In a lot of cases, you will have a backlight because the light, especially like for a round object, the light has to have a source to go around. I mean, it's not just going to stop right there. It's going to, it's going to wrap around, the object. With the water drop, will the light go through the shadow around? That, I'm not an expert on water. I assume it will. So, can't really say mystery on that one. I think it would. Yes. Thank you, Golf Daddy. Alright, right here, I wanted to show you guys on this one right here where I was talking about an object. Just because there's another object right here doesn't mean the shadow is going to keep on going. It's going to bounce off, another object. If there's an object in the way, it's going to bounce off another object. So, then you have your light. Anything that's flat, the light is going to be, it's going to be flat. Okay. Hey, 9. Not much, just covering basics. It will be recorded so you can catch it on the rebound. What would the cube shadow look like if the cube was translucent? That's another one I really don't, I'm not sure of, Seth. It's like the water, Right now I just want to make sure that people got the basics down. I'm just going over a few examples. Yeah. Whenever you get like that, light can be really crazy, especially refractions and like going through glass and water and stuff like that. I don't want to make it too complicated right now. I want to make it, I want to keep it pretty simple. So, but there's all kinds of resources, guys. There's all kinds of reference. Just Google it. That's where I found a lot of my reference. Just look up different lighting and see what you can find. I'll tell you right now that still life is the best way to go. If you're not sure about lighting, how things react to light, shadows, etc. Look at an object. Look at an object in the light. Start with your basic apple. See how the apple reacts to light, and not just one way, but different ways. See how the shadow follows through. I would definitely recommend that. I'm not amazing. I'm just paying it forward, man. There's a lot. I know there's a lot of people that have an issue with lighting and stuff, and I know it can be complicated because it was for me. Yes, and see, there's probably a lot more people here, and in Sketch Club that have a lot more knowledge on this than I do. I just figured I would throw it out there, just show what I know, and like I said, just pay it forward and teach, whatever I can, Yeah, I struggled with lighting for the longest time, but it's something that's really, if you really want your artwork to stick out, if you want to give it a more three-dimensional look, um, lighting is very important, especially values, and I'll go over that in a minute. Okay, but yeah, thank you. Um, but yeah, I love lighting too, and I love shadows, and you can capture a lot of different effects with lighting and shadows too. Um, and here we have a face. And right here you see the shadow casting off the nose, off the nostril, the brow area. Here the light's hitting, right here. You'll have some pinpoint light. However coarse your subject is, however coarse your object is, like however much your object sticks out. Um, Say like the nose, for instance. The nose has got a real round surface on it, right? So it's got a round surface right there, and two round surfaces on the end. Um, Especially like when it gets wet or oily, you'll have a very shiny pinpoint, on each surface. So depending on how round or smooth or flat your surface is, will also determine how much light you know shows there. All right, so up here, I just wanted to show an example of the sun, like the main light source, like the sun. See how it's at more of an angle. It's not at like a 95 degree. It's more at an angle. Well, therefore the angle is going to spread out more for the object, so the shadow is going to stretch out more. So I wanted to show that too. Yeah, just a little bit puff, but it's okay. I'll let Fleur catch up. Hey, Finale. Yeah, guys, I hope this ain't boring, man. I'm trying to make it as interesting as possible, but you know, teaching a class and just messing around, it's like two different beasts for me. Yeah, thank you. Okay. I just hope you guys are getting something out of this. I'm not trying to show off or anything like that. I'm really trying to, get people's minds wrapped around this and just show them, different ways of how to achieve this. Yeah. Yeah, whatever, V. Yeah. Color is no different, really. It's all about values. It's all about how your values um, how your values look. Values is what basically creates the depth. Um, you know, without value, you don't have anything. Everything's flat, and color just plays in with that. Yeah, thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Angie. Yeah, it's a very complex subject. You know, but it can be, it can be more simplified if you just, you just got to break it down. You just got to break it down. And one thing I do wanted to show. Let me show you this real quick, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, so here we have a piece of clothing, and the light's hidden from this area. Okay. Just remember, whatever the light hits, there's going to be a shadow that falls back. Always, always, always. So never, forget that. Never second guess it or whatever. That's always that's like a rule of thumb right there. Depending on how hard the light is, how strong, how soft, will determine how much shadow is cast back. All right. Then you have like little wrinkles right here in the clothing. Here you got your shadow, shadow down here, and there will be different sources of shadow too. Like I said, depending on how hard the lighting is, there's a lot of factors that play into it. Your surface, if it's really coarse, if it's really sharp, there's going to be more sharp lighting, and therefore there's going to be more sharper shadow to flow back. If it's really soft, if it's really if the surface is really open, like flat, it's going to be less. It all depends on the surface too. Okay. All right, guys. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. If not, I'll move on to the next example. Can't believe my mic's still going. It's pretty cool. No bugs. We don't have to send Fleur out on a bug hunt. Hey, awesome job, Fleur. I really appreciate you trying to keep up with me. Can we give Fleur a round of applause, everybody? She's doing awesome. All right. Yeah, I don't want to jinx it. Okay. Yes, thank you very much, Fleur. Okay, so you guys have any questions? I'll be happy to answer them if you have any, as best as I can. Sure, Dee Dee. That's funny. And we need some humor, man, because I feel like this is dull and boring, but I didn't expect it to be too, it's kind of hard to, I don't know. All right, so I'm gonna get to the next example then. All right, how do you determine the light source? Well, you determine the light source by you you have yeah, I appreciate that. Well, I don't want to play background music for copyright issues because this is going to be uploaded to YouTube. So Although I would love to play some background music for y'all because I'd rather listen to music than hear myself talk. Anyway, the question was how you determine the light source. Determine the light source. Well, you have your main light source like the sun, but you can also have a light source come from other means like like a light, a spotlight, whatever. You just have to basically like whenever you're working an object, you just you gotta imagine the light. You gotta imagine where the light is gonna hit from. If it's gonna hit from overhead, is it gonna hit from? Is it gonna come from up under? Is it gonna come from the side? Is it gonna come from the sun? And then how strong is that light gonna be? Is really all it is an illusion. You're creating an illusion with your object when you apply the light. So however strong you make that light on your object is going to determine, what light source you're using. I hope that makes sense. Then you also have color light too. So I mean, there's all kinds of different light, and plus the color on your object can also affect that light as well. It's just some stuff you'll have to if you're real serious about it, if you want to make your drawings pop more, have more you know have more wow factor. It's something you're really just going to have to study. I mean, that's really all I can say about that. So do some Google research. Look up some references. That's what I do anytime I struggle or I get stumped, and that's really the best advice I can offer. All right, so I'm going to move on to the next. All right, Tino, thanks, man. Thanks a lot, buddy. Have a good one, bro. All right, so now I'm going to go over just a few things. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right, Seth. Yeah, thanks, Seth. No, I didn't explain the reflection of the light hitting the object. Yeah, the color light can be used. There's all kinds of different light sources. I mean, you use some very dramatic lighting in your scenes, Surge. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. And same thing with Rom. All right, so right here, I just want to cover some more information. That's all right, man. We're all clueless at one point in time. There you go. All right, so right here, I just want to go over some more information. This is just basically my own insight on it from what I've gathered. Sharp objects, I've pretty much covered this. We'll have a brighter light like metal, glass, anything that's dense in material or liquid, pretty much. And then blunt objects, we'll have dull light like cloth, wood, anything that is less dense in material. So, you know, just look at material. Just look at an object. Look at texture in the object. You know. Like I said, do some still life studies. I mean, those are great. It's really the best way to get this down, to understand. And then right here, I just have a grayscale bar showing dark to light. And these are your values, also known as shades of gray. Ooh, still life compo. That would be interesting. Sounds fun. Yeah, you should. Okay, Rom's question is, I want to know if you have two objects. Whoa, chat's moving fast now. Next to each other and the light hits if you get a reflection light on the first object. Yes. Yes, you should. Yes. Okay. Thank you, God Daddy. Alright, so right here, yeah, I wanted to show the grayscale value. Yes, that's true, Seth. Yeah, there's a lot of information, man, in this whole lighting shadow thing. You know, you just have to you just have to study it, yourself, and just figure it out. I'm giving you like a foundation, pretty much, just to go with, to start on, for those who really struggle with it. But yeah, there's so much information involved in lighting, and it can get complicated. It's almost like mathematical. Yeah, and Seth seems to know a lot about this. So if you guys have any questions, if you don't mind, hit them up. That's all right, man. Hey, I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate some more knowledge on this, because I just know what I know. So all right, I'm sorry, guys. All right, so let me move on. Now let's get to the fun stuff. I just really wanted to go over the basics right there. Sorry to hold y'all up. Alrighty. So what I do whenever I'm working is I determine a light source, where I want my light to come from. Most likely it's going to be for me, it's going to be at an angle. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, for me it's going to be at an angle. So, but you can have a light come from the top or the bottom, whatever mood you're trying to achieve. So I just start throwing in some, I use a smudge and I start, just dotting in some values. One thing I wanted to show you guys, I don't know if everybody's aware of this method, is the color pick. And basically, you color pick values that are surrounding, an area. So that way you can keep your values close together. It's very beneficial, and it's something that I utilize in everything that I do. Because you can just color pick and add, color pick and add, and just keep on adding. All right, Puff. Thanks for joining. Talk to you later. Let me show you another example. So what I'm going to do is show you how to achieve value. What I mean by color pick is you press down with the stylus or your finger on the iPad or phone or whatever, and you just move it around. See how I'm moving it around and it's showing the different values? It's showing the different shades of gray. All right, let me show you over here. See how the color's moving around in the ring? Oh, thank you, Angie. Appreciate it. Have a good night. Thank you. Yeah, see how the color's moving around in the ring? You got, dang it. You guys see that? Sorry, guys. All right, that's what I'm talking about. See, like I color picked this black, and then I drop it off over here. Color pick some more. It's basically like dabbing a paintbrush in paint. That's basically all it is. And what's very beneficial about it, yeah, like an eyedropper. What's very beneficial about it is you can move around. Like, say you're working on a surface. Let me create a surface real quick. I'm just going to do a spear. Whoa, what happened there? All right. Okay. So I color pick from this dark source over here, right? All right. Then I add it over here. Okay? Just dab it in. Just keep on dabbing around. All right? Then I use the color picker and I start grabbing values and I start moving more. And that's all you're doing. You're just grabbing values. You're just grabbing the different shades and moving them around. I'll go over here, grab some white, and start dabbing it in. Use color picker. Start moving it around the surface. And see how it's kind of blending it? It's kind of blending it in. You just keep on working it. Hey, Cricks, what's up? So you just keep on working it, you know. All right, you guys see that? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about whenever I'm going over color picking. Um, that is like the best way to achieve value. Yeah, I've done multiplying screen, but it's to each his own, I guess. I prefer doing the color picking. Thank you, Mark. Well, I'll take that back. This is the best way to achieve color picking, in my opinion. Let's put it that way. Everybody's got their own method on how they do it, but this is how I like to do it. So, yeah, no problem. Hey, everybody's got their own devices, and that's all I'm doing right here is just showing my device. All right, so now I'm gonna create a scene here. Um, you can pick your friends. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna try to create a scene here for you. So it's gonna go it's gonna go pretty fast. So now that you understand the color picking method, that's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing. I'm just dabbing. I'm just dabbing. And I use the smaining a lot, which is the smudge and painting, as you can see right here. I definitely use it a lot for like for clouds and backgrounds and stuff like that. It's just I don't know. It's just a quicker way to lay stuff down for me because it's got the smudge effect, plus it's got the painterly effect. So another thing I would suggest is whenever you're painting, sketching, whatever you're doing, I would suggest zooming out a lot. That way you can capture the whole scene in one view. Because if you go too far in, then you lose what's going on the outside. That's another thing I would suggest is look at it from far away. Make sure everything is, the way it's supposed to be. Even work on it from far away until you get to a point to where you want to move in, start adding details and stuff like that. See, I was actually too close in there, but I was trying to show you guys, you know, the color picking. So yeah, all I'm doing is, you know, creating depth, creating a scene, trying to get something going. And once you get once you get to a point to where, you're kind of happy with, how the background's looking, everything. Well, how the whole setup's looking. Yeah, setting up the values in depth. Yeah. Then, you know, what I do is I go in and start I grab like a neutral gray and then make sure my layer's on. Then I'll start going in and laying down some value. You might want to sketch it out first, what you want to do, but yeah, it's whatever. So it's going to be like a character, maybe. I'm not trying to work on, I'm not worrying about anatomy or anything. I'm just trying to get something going. All right, so then I'll grab that's what's so good about this color picker thing, man. No, I'm sorry, I missed the question. What was the question? I'm so sorry. What was your question, Sky? Do I start with the background? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Then you can start with the background, or you can just go with the character, or whatever you want to do. If you start creating a background, then it creates depth. It creates. Yeah, usually I don't. Usually I do. It all depends on what I want to achieve. Sometimes I'll do the background afterwards. You know, a lot of times I really do not have a method to my madness. Sometimes I just go at it. um, so now I'm gonna start throwing just some basic light. You never want to go too white. I mean, you can lay some white on there, but color pick it and start creating the values. Start bringing the light back. You know, try to work on solid shapes as opposed to more detailed shapes. Like work out the solid parts first. You know. Don't worry about details. And like I said, always zoom out. Always zoom out and see what it looks like from far away. If your values are right, you can't go wrong. If your silhouette's right, you can't go wrong. Because then after you get, the subject done, all the values looking good, then you can go back in, and get more detailed, Even if you zoom in, always zoom back out to get a full view of it. All right. Another thing I want to introduce is I'm not sure if everybody's aware of it. I know most people are. Is the color bar over here is very beneficial too. You can add your colors over here and just grab different. It's great for grabbing different values too. You guys see the color bar? Yes, that's correct, Crix. Thanks for covering that. I forgot to mention that. Yes, flipping is also good. Yeah, I agree, Mark. Yeah, so the swatches over here. Are you guys watching? I'm gonna actually show you how you can change the colors. If you hold down on it, you can change the color like that. All right. You can go to swatch and select, your different color bars, and you can add, like, say, like I want to add white there. I could add white. On the next one down, I could add gray, and then so on and so forth. Excellent tool to have at your disposal. It's whatever. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I like it. I use it. So if I'm not color picking, then I'm using the bar on the side. So, all right, let me get back to this. Yeah, I love it too. Is the audio starting to get jumpy, guys? Do I need to restart? No, the bar doesn't reset. It stays. It stays the same. Okay. All right, I'm gonna get moving, guys, because I'm not gonna have very much more time here. I really want to get on this and show you. All right. So I grabbed some value from over here to start dabbing in. You can eliminate a lot of your work by already knowing where the shadows are going to lay. If you have a general idea, then you can just come back and detail it more. As long as you have the general idea of where things are going to fall. This guy has a chest, so he's going to have a little bump right here of light also, not just the main source over here. It's going to have like a dip in his pec. And shadow's going to fall over here. There's also going to be like, there's going to be light that's going to hit in the back over here. That's going to be like your backlight. It's not going to be a whole lot. It's just going to be, kind of like a line. And once again, I know the anatomy doesn't look the best, but I'm not really focused on anatomy or anything. I'm just trying to do the values. There's a light over here. If his arm's like sticking out or whatever, just remember whatever the light is hitting the most, whatever object is facing the light is what the light's going to hit. You can't go wrong there. I mean, oops. See, like, if this arm is sticking out, then the light's gonna hit it. Now, if it was back behind the body, then the light wouldn't hit it as much because the body would be stuck in front of it. Therefore, a shadow would also be hitting the arm as well. Ogre anatomy. Could be ogre anatomy. That's one thing I do like about doing, like, just going with values, because you can create something that's not human. You can just go, kind of crazy with it. You don't have to really stay within the realm of, this is supposed to look like this, and this is supposed to look like this, You can kind of Wouldn't necessarily say cheated, but see how it's already kind of like, it's kind of popping out a little bit. Because I'm keeping in mind, the spear. Kind of looks like Jason. It's like Jason from Friday the 13th. Hey, what's up, Joel? Yeah, this is a class. Whatever you miss, you can catch it. You can catch it on recording. After I mess around with this for a little while, actually show you guys a sample of a piece that I worked on, where it's already got a lot of the lighting laid down, a lot of the shadows. And you just gotta keep on working with it. It's not all gonna come out looking right the first time. You just gotta keep on working and dabbing, working and dabbing. And a lot of times you don't even need lines, You can pull off effects just by knowing the light source. Whoa, did my stomach just growl? Just by knowing the light source, you don't even need lines. Where we're going, we don't need roads. Yeah, sorry. I love Back to the Future. Sketch going to be black and white, or are you going to add color later? I'm not going to add anything. This is just an example. It's not going to be like a finished sketch or anything. This is just an example. Now, if I was to do it, then yeah, I would add color. I would add color eventually. But the main thing I try to focus on, which is really, really important actually, is the values. You keep your mind focused on the values, and you can't go wrong. Even if if you have like the most awesome color added to an image, but your values are off, your light's off, your shadows are off, the color's not going to do anything but cover it up. So try to keep that in mind. Colors is basically just going to be like covering up a flaw, So I would say focus on values, because values is where everything begins with, Yeah, value is part of color too. But if you don't have your values down, I can't stress that enough. If you don't have your values down, the color's not going to make it any better. Yeah, it's like the foundation. Thank you, Cricks. So I just want to stress that. Even the values in color. So you got, show you what I'm talking about. You got red. So you got dark red right there. And drop the value down a little bit more. Values is what's going to make it read clear. Just keep in mind the lights and the darks. The lights and the darks. and everything in between. Lights and the darks and your grays. Now, if I was to take this, if I was to take these colors and turn them into grayscale, you'll see the values. Now see how the values are there? It's because I kept the values even in the color. See how it's kind of like flowing back? Hey X Ninja, what's up? Do you guys see what I did right there? Yeah, for me personally, I always start my sketches in black and white. It's just how I like to work. And I like to add color later. So did you guys see what I did there? See, even in color, there's value. So there's always value. Value is never, it's never omitted, even through color. But everybody's got their own way of working. Some people like to start out in color. As long as you keep in mind the values, then you can't go wrong. And the rules of light and dark, shadows, all that. Because everything else just falls into place. I mean, if you got the core basics down, all the details and everything, that just falls into place. That just basically complements, what you already have. Say, for example, get the values basically looking okay for this head. Now I can go in and start adding little details. Finer details. And always remember to zoom out. Always remember to zoom out and get a big look at it. Make sure, even if everything's right the way it's supposed to be, always zoom out, because something can go off really quick if you get too caught up in the details. So now I'm just going in, I'm dotting around. If you dot around, like, you can achieve a lot of things just by loose gestures. You'll be amazed what you can achieve just by going loose. As long as you have the values right, I'm going to run the values thing into the ground because it's really important. I'm telling you. But you can go back in here and just do your, color picking. No, I don't have to be 100% black. That's another thing. You never want to go too black or too white, except in your strongest light or your strongest dark. So that's definitely one thing to keep in mind. You never want to go. All right, I'm gonna say that again. You never want to go too black or too white, except in your strongest lights or your strongest darks. If you go too black, then it's hard to go back. I can't believe I just said that. If you go too white, you might not be alright. Yeah. Alright, so I'm just dotting away, man. Adding some texture. I'm trying to get my composure now. Alright. Alright, just dotting away, adding some texture, you know. It's so hard for me to get back to where I was at. I'm sorry, Cricks, what would you say? What would you ask? I'm sorry. I had a moment there. Yes, yes, the 1 to 10 value scale, yes. Yeah, I kind of showed a small example of it earlier. I think you came in late though. All right, so now that I showed you this, guys, I hope you kind of got a grasp on it. Class is not over. I just want to make sure that you got a grasp on this. I'm gonna show you a picture that I worked on. That's more refined, where I really focused on the lighting. Well, actually, I'm gonna show you a couple of pictures. You guys good? Thank you once again, Fleur. I really, really appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I know I'm kind of hard to keep up with, and I apologize. I'm better at working than I am explaining. Yeah, a round of applause once again for Fleur, everybody. She's doing an amazing, amazing job. Thank you so much, sweetie. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and save this. All right, and I'm gonna pull up some sketches that I've already done. Well, that I started working on. This is just to show you examples. So here we have this guy underwater. Thank you. Can you guys see it? Hold on, let me adjust my iPad. All right, can you guys see it? All right, sweet. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, I just want to show you this, guys. Um, Here's another example of values, and see how the light is hidden through the water. And so it's hidden right here on his face, on his cheek, right here on his little bulge of his chin. Anything that's going to the light. Yeah, like rays of sunlight, yeah. Yeah, anything that's facing the light. Yeah, you got some light back there. Up here. So. Alright, Misso. Thank you. thanks for coming. Appreciate it. So you got a little light back there too. Yeah, so that's one example. And then you got some light back here. Yeah. Right here. That's your main light source. You can always have, yeah, it's a lot of arrows. They're being pierced. You can also have other light sources too. You could have a light source coming from down here if you want, like a different color. You know, you could have one coming from over here. You can just play around with it, You might have like a backlight source coming from over here and, hitting all this around here. So, as long as you keep to the general rule, you really, you can't go wrong. Yeah, it could be. I know it seems complicated, but I mean, you know, it does seem complicated, but once you get the hang of it, it really does get easier. It really does. Because you just, you apply the same thing with everything that you do. Now, when you start getting into more difficult light, yeah, thank you, Wendy. Yeah, you have to think in 3D. Exactly. You have to think like you're sculpting an object. Yeah, think as if you're sculpting an object out of nothing, basically. If you think like a sculptor, then you definitely can't go wrong. No, they're friends. This is when they first met underwater. After this, they're gonna go out for a coffee. All right. So now I showed you that, guys. I'm gonna show you another example. Hey, infinity. That Sketchbot's catching up with me. I guess I jinxed it earlier. Yes, that's true. You're right, Crix. Oh yeah, another thing I wanted to show you. So say like you do have the values down, right? Um, then you can then you just start adding color. You know. So say I want this guy to be green. A lot of times what I do is if I'm like working on one character, yeah, Black, kind of missed a lot. Welcome to the class, but it'll be recorded so you can catch it on the rebound. You can catch whatever you missed. Okay, so once you have the values down, then you can add color. And one thing I wanted to show you guys, like whenever I work, yeah, you can try some dramatic lighting. Whenever you work, or whenever I work, if I'm working on like a character, like just a single character, and I got the values looking good, then I'll take that character and I'll just show you right now. Okay, so I just merged all this. I'm taking this piece and I'm going into filter. All right. So I go into filter. I don't know why it's upside down, but I go into filter. I go to color adjustment. I go down to sepia and I just change it all to a neutral color. And this is what I usually do. This is mainly when I'm working on a character though. This is not when I'm working on the whole scene. But you can also add just a color over the whole scene too to change the mood. So then I go back in the filter, go up to color adjustment, and just change the color, to whatever my liking, whatever I want. If I want to go blue, I'll go all the way down with the hue, or up, whatever. Just whatever your preference is. Or you can do that too, Crix. You can go. I'm just showing like what I do if I'm working on just a character. But yeah, you go over with a light. You go over with a brush. Same thing. Select overlay, multiply, whatever. Oops, I don't want to do that. You can pull off a lot of things with layer blending modes and filters. So let's see. So I select overlay. Then I'll start adding color. If you don't like the color, you can always adjust it. You can always adjust the tint of it. If you want it darker, if you want it brighter, whatever. Select another color. Yep, that's why I'm here, to help you guys out. That's why I wanted to do this, to show you scops, different things you can do. Then once you have an overlay, you like where it's at. Oops, do not do that. Thank you, Crix. I love your characters too. Yeah, I usually work like this. There's a lot of different ways that I work though. I mean, I'll either work like this or there's so many different ways that I do it. I don't really have one set method. I'm always trying out different things, so I would definitely suggest that too, to try out different things. Don't just stick to one thing. Thank you, Alicia. Appreciate it. So yeah, so if you add overlay, then you can go back over it on another layer and start color picking. Start adding in details. Just keep in mind the lighting. And If you want to go more light, more dark, go ahead. Start adding texture. No, well, yeah, I did use vector to start it out. Yeah, I'm glad. Thanks a lot, Infinity. So yeah, just start, No, I'm not doing this on overlay. What I do is I apply the main color on overlay. The overlay layer is underneath. I'm doing this on a layer above that, on normal. See the difference? See, there's the overlay, and here's what I started applying over it. Yeah, I just use overlay for, the base color, or you can use multiply. It's whatever. If I use multiply, it makes them more darker. Of course, I have to go back and fix the the lighting and everything, but just play around with the blending modes. Darken, I wouldn't suggest that one. Burn, soft light. They're each going to have their own different effects. So saturation. The ones I mainly use are overlay, dodge, multiply, screen, soft light, hard light, sometimes color. They're all going to have their own different effects. Okay, so yeah, I wanted to show you guys that. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. If not, I'm going to show you my other example. Hope you guys are getting a lot out of this. I really do. Hope at least this can, help you out. However, get you on the right path, with your art. I'm always here for you. If ever you guys have any questions, if I can answer it, feel free to stop in my streams. Shoot me a message. Just throwing that out there. I'm always willing to help fellow artists improve and reach their potential and get better if they're serious about doing it. Yeah, well, I'm not done with the class, but you're very welcome. I still got about, I don't know, 30 minutes. So if you guys want to see some more, I'm going to show you another example. All right. All right, so here's another example of lighting the subject. I really like this one. Actually, I might finish this one. Yeah, thank you. I'm not here to show off the artwork though. I'm here to show you guys. um, the examples. All right. Okay, so once again, the lighting. All right, so once again, the lighting, here's the main source. All right. And these are different areas that it's hitting. So everything that's facing the light, is getting hit with light. No, they're not. They're not in water. I don't know where they're at. They're in some kind of mist or something. Some kind of misty environment, smoky environment or something. I don't know. I just selected that color um, just to see what it looked like. And basically, what I did was I just added this. I added a color fill with overlay over the picture. And screen, multiply. So you can get different moods too. Like see how I just applied multiply. See how darker it got. Then overlay. And another thing that I'd like to show you is um, multiply can really add some great depth too. So if you put a multiply on an already valued piece, you can go back in and select the value, select the color, tone down the value, throw some lighting in there, and really pop out certain areas. Look at that. And see how that pops out? And that's great for like armor. Or shiny things like scales, whatever. Just a little bit of light goes a long way. A little bit of dark and a little bit of light can go a long way. All I'm doing is dabbing it in, just dabbing it in, you know. Just working my hand around in like loose motions. See? You might have to go back and grab some more color if you start to lose your values. Yeah. Some on the sword. Hey, I'm excited for you guys to try it out, man. Um, yeah, I'm not smudging right here. I mean, sometimes I'll use smudge, but right now I'm just using a basic brush right here. Oh, I don't know, GD. That'd be cool if there was a compo. Yeah, I really challenge you guys to give this a shot, though, man. Challenge yourselves. Try out new things. Woohoo. If you have no values, well then we all know what happens there, man. I'm glad I kept you awake. I really thought this was coming off boring, which I hate. I hate boring, man. Believe me. My streams are usually exciting. Yeah, guys. So there's the other piece. I could keep on adding to it. And as long as you get the core values down, you can always go back in and, like I said, add more details. You know, just keep the general rule. You know, with whatever you're working on. Sorry, guys, I'm missing the chat here. If you guys had any questions, just repeat them to me. Another thing you can do, you can also. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything here. Um, because I really went over a lot before I started this class to make sure that I had everything down. Um, so I didn't mislead you guys or whatever. Another thing you can do is you can just, if you notice in my work, you notice that I add a lot of like kind of like scribbling. A lot of stuff you can just fake. You don't have to have necessarily details. A lot of stuff you can just fake. If you have the values right, you can just fake like, you know, details. Okay, Wendy. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I don't want to go. I don't want to go over timestamp or anything. Um, so if you guys have any questions, I'll try to answer them best I can. Hey, I really appreciate this, guys. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Sketch Club. Yeah, like I said, I'm just hoping that everybody got something out of it. That's my main concern. and I'm always up for doing another class or an evening with, you know, if you guys want to know more stuff, you want me to show you some other stuff, whatever. Thank you, Fleur. Thank you so much for doing the transcribing. I really, really appreciate it. Is that your question? Is that your question, Skywalker? You want it? Yeah, you guys are very welcome. You wanted to know, be cool to potentially have a class where you draw over other people's work? Yeah, yeah, sure thing, man. And I'm always open for critiques too. If you guys ever need a critique, you know, I mean, I'm always busy, but just hit me up and say, hey, I was wondering what you thought about this. Um, yeah, man, sure thing. I'll even take it in a stream and you know do a work over it, and show you what I think, something can look like, or something can look better this way or whatever. Yeah, thank you, everybody.